No, that's a good point. That's a good point. But when a person like Prajnesh, Somdev, and all of them retire, and they're still very young, perfect age for them to be able to pass that on, okay, and see where they faltered to be able to actually get even higher than them. That's the goal. And today's environment is such that everything is available in the global sense, not just in the local sense. So there are lots of camps, numerous camps in Middle East, Dubai and Abu Dhabi. There are numerous camps in Southeast Asia, in Thailand. And these are all pros who come in the winter time from Europe to come and work in camps in these. There's a huge camp in Kenya. The Germans run a camp there. So there are enough places to actually go and do Singapore also. You don't have to go all the way to Florida to, Barcelona or wherever else. And when you get to a certain stage, yes, you have to have a better, more modern version of what's required. I understand that, So like someone like me comes from the old school who can teach about mental strength and mental toughness, but we won't be able to help in today's environment of how they strike the ball, right? So there's a lot that they can, but we can talk about what the one thing that has never changed in tennis is how a player is going to feel at 4-5, 30, 40. The way we felt at 4-5, 30, 40, the way they feel at 4-5, 30, 40 is pretty much the same. So at least I know what the thought process is going through. But how they play the ball today, the court surface is different, the ball surface, the ball is heavier, rackets are different, everything else we were playing against is all makes it much more today's version of it. So so you need good help in that direction. Plus, of course, the diet, the regimen, the training regimen, the physical fitness, and all of that. All of that needs to come into play, and I think we've created some of it here in Tamil Nadu, especially. And but you have to reach a certain standard to get there. When you start at 8, 9 years old, you don't need that.
Okay.
You need to get to a certain point. Frankly speaking, to get into a challenger tournament, you should be able to do most of it here. Right? I'm an eternal optimist. Okay? When I throw the ball up to serve, I always think it's going to go in. But then you may miss it by 2 feet, right? So I keep telling our boys that you get a wild card into a tournament once, twice, okay. But thereafter, you should have made a jump to actually get in straight in. Okay. So Sumit didn't play here. He would have been the only guy who would have gotten, I think so, right?
Yeah,
he would have only been the guy to get straight into the tournament. And he didn't play. But, you cannot but force yourself to get better. However you do it, you have to get better to come back here and not just play this tournament, but to win it. That's the goal. What am I looking forward to seeing my Indian boys playing? My first choice is to always give it to the Indians, right? Because that's why we have these tournaments here, so that the guys can get better for the next year. But by the next year, if you're not getting in this year, by the next year, you should get in. So many of the foreign players who have come and played here have gotten so good. Some name, the guy comes here, he's playing in the qualifying, loses in the second round. Next thing you know, in the fourth round, Australia. Today, everything is universal. So there's no saying, he has this or he has that. Or you have everything now. Everything is available. We literally have to get better. Because frankly speaking, I went to the Davis Cup match in Delhi for a couple of days. And we were playing Togo. Lovely boys from Togo. But do we belong in the same group as Togo? Frankly. And Group 2. So group match, right? We get into group one, stay in group one. My point is that unless we have players in the top 50, we're not going to have any crack of getting into the world group. We can continue to stay between 1 and 2 and so on and so forth, right? So that's my whole point. I mean, we have to stay so focused on the 4 singles, you know. If you get old and you want to play doubles, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with it because you can make a decent living out of it, stay in the circuit for a while and so on and so forth. But unless we have 4 singles covered, how are we going to make the world group? That is my only question, only focus.
So,
Yeah. Listen, if each person is different, okay, every individual is different. That's what's so great about this sport. I play differently. My brother played differently. Ramesh played differently. The great Krishnan played differently. We all played different times, and we did what we could do best. Okay, you get to a point where first and foremost thing in our sport is you hate to lose, and it's only you. Nobody else can help you. It's only you. Coaching I'll talk about in a minute, but it's only you, right? So if you lose 1 year, you want to make sure that you're coming back better next year. However you do it, whatever is good for you. Is it good for you to play 3 weeks and take 2 weeks off, or play 5 weeks in a row, or you're going to practice 4 hours a day, or you play 2 hours a day and spend the rest of the time in the gym? Whatever is good for each individual, boy, girl, it doesn't matter. Right? So based on that individual, you have to decide with your own mindset, the own way you play. Oh, you know what? My backhand needs improvement. I'm not getting any attacking capability with my back. Okay, well then 3 months I better focus on my backhand. Way back in the old days, Mats Wilander didn't have a backhand slice. And so he went off and 6 months he practiced his backhand slice to come back. And 6 months he practices 200 backhand, and the following year he won 3 Grand Slams. My point is that each individual needs to figure out what he or she needs to do and absolutely work like there's no tomorrow to be able to get it done. And I think, could we increase more opportunities? Yes. But do we have opportunities now that we never had before? Yes. And there's a lot more on offer today for boys and girls than we could ever imagine, you know. And if we have tournaments are on our home soil, you must be good enough to win it.
And on the topic of wildcards and India's performances, what are your thoughts on Maaya? She got a wildcard entry into the qualifying in Mumbai Open, and she's now into the semifinals.
It's this evening, right?
yes,
Yeah.
she plays today.
6:30. Yeah.
Now, see, to me, that's what energizes me. And frankly, we don't expect everybody to do that. We get it. But to see 1, 2, 3 successes makes everything we do worthwhile. Okay? So that's my whole point. And the great thing about today's sportsmen and women, I mean, girls single, boys single, ladies, men, is the fact that the ROI on your practice is so high. How could you not want to be in the top 20, top 30, top 40? You know? Because you're set for life. Which means if you're already chosen this as your profession, this needs to be the complete focus for you. The government has been incredibly supportive of us, of what TNTA is doing and what they want to do with sports. And every time somebody wins something, boss wants to see them, to congratulate them, which is awesome. So it's just the government is being so supportive. You know, we are trying to do whatever we can at TNTA to, you know, provide whatever they want. We try to help. I think the rest is left to the, you know, can only take the horse to the water.
And as the TNTA president, any insights into your interactions with Maaya?
Well, I only spoke to her before she went on the tour. You know, in my last trip here, she went to Delhi Nationals, I think it was before the Nationals. Right? Then? Before the Nationals, yeah. Nationals. And then
Lost the fight. She went.
lost the fight, yeah. I was there. Then this boy Rethin won it.
Yeah.
And so we were very pleased with the results of what they got there. And when you lose a match, you have to ascertain where it went wrong and at what point the third set didn't work, or were you not physically well enough, where you it was fitness a question, where you have to set in a break and you did close it out, what happened, those kinds of things. You have to analysis, but not right after the match. You have to take a breather and make sure the next day you can analyze it. But it seems like they're doing well. The boy unfortunately was injured, Rethin. Yeah. And hopefully he'll come back, and it would have been great for him to play the qualifying here. It would have been fantastic for him to play the qualifying. Great experience for him to do it. I want to see how he can be fit enough, 100% fit enough to be able to play good.
Any update on the ATP or WTA Tour events coming to?
I was hoping you wouldn't ask that question.
Because the ATP calendar is
Only question I didn't want you to ask.
That's the main page. Very made, like you said, your constant talks to last
2 years.
Yeah,
2 years. I've broken my head on it. Spend my own money running around here and there trying to chase these fellows. See, the ATP is revamping their home schedule. Okay, so 26th they come out with the calendar. There are 2 open weeks. There are 2 TBDs in the calendar. I don't know if you've seen it. Okay, there are 2 TBDs in the calendar, one in the summer and one in the fall. And so I had gone after the fall event 8-9 months ago. That's the Moscow event. That's now become a TBD for obvious reasons. And what did they do 2 years ago? They put that event in Tel Aviv because Moscow couldn't have it because of Ukraine. Right? So they put it in Tel Aviv. What happened in Israel? They took it out to Israel 2 weeks before all of this happened. Right? They stuck it for 1 year in Sofia. And I'm sitting here saying, hey, give me the event. The problem is that it's a winter tournament and it's here in November. So we have also our windows of December, Jan, Feb, if we can do it, or potentially 2 weeks in September after the US Open. So our windows also are a little narrow on when we can afford to have it. So that's been the dilemma here for them. And then from 20, I think they're trying to add one more 1,000 to the calendar, which is likely to go to Jeddah. And, they took out 3 250s already.
Marcel is one.
No, Newport they bought it for quite a large sum of money and they made it a 500 in Doha. And then Cordoba went to Munich. And then one more went to somewhere in Europe again. So they took out 3 250s already. So I'm saying, don't even give me the tournament permanently. Just give me a 2-year license to run the tournament. So you could see what we do again. It's been a while since we had it here. So they still putting me on a hurry up and hold. So that's where we are. Honestly, that's as of yesterday, as a matter of fact. But then it's going to be on the weekend, and government is just being incredibly supportive of the event. So it's I have taken everything in the kitchen sink out on the ATP, because it's their job to give us an event, whether they like it or not, because the ATP and WTA need to have events in India. It is by far the fastest growing economy in the world. There is no tournament in India. We need a tournament in India. If you want to be a global sport, you need to have an event in India. When I was playing in the 70s and 80s, we had tournaments across all capitals in Asia. Every capital in Asia had a tournament. On top of everything else, Nairobi wants a tournament. Muscat wants a tournament. Cairo wants a tournament. India can have 2 or 3 tournaments. Bangkok wants a tournament back. Manila wants a tournament. Singapore wants a tournament. Hong Kong wants a tournament. And you're saying none of this is possible? So I'm being very vocal with these guys about doing this, and they say can only have 3 during the same week. So why can't we have 4 if it's not on the same continent? So I'll keep at it. Okay. All good?
On the